Hi, this is Yvonne McNary, and I'm here today at the Health Department here in Lebanon Health Department, and I'm with Donnie Gill. Good morning, Donnie.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing real good. And Donnie is our Lincoln Trail Information Officer, and he brings us all kinds of information on what's going on around Kentucky and all the different counties. So Donnie's here today, and we're going to talk about hepatitis A.
Yeah, we got a little bit of bad news today, a little bit of good news. We'll finish with the good news.
Okay, that's good.
Unfortunately, again, starting with the bad news, we are seeing pockets of hepatitis A outbreaks here in Kentucky. Excuse me. Most of which have been in Jefferson County, but we have had a few start to trickle out. Now, with hepatitis A, you can get vaccinated against it. That is the best way to prevent hepatitis A infection because anybody is vulnerable to this condition.
Okay, now first of all, tell us, what is hepatitis A? We've talked about hepatitis C, and we're going ABC kind of deal here. So tell us what hepatitis A is and the difference between maybe it and C.
Okay, hepatitis A is a virus, and it affects your liver function. It's a different virus than hepatitis C and hepatitis B, but they all have similar symptoms.
Okay.
They all affect the liver and liver function. The difference is how they're spread.
Okay.
Hepatitis A, and this is really gross to think about, but hepatitis A is spread through fecal matter.
Okay.
So somebody uses the bathroom, they don't wash their hands, or say they changed a diaper and didn't wash their hands. They'll have trace amounts of stool on their hands, and then maybe they prepare a sandwich for you at a restaurant, or they work at a grocery store or something like that, and then you consume that food that has the fecal matter on it and the virus, and then that's how hepatitis A is spread.
Okay, so tell us then how we can avoid hepatitis A.
Okay. Again, the best way to avoid it is to get a vaccine. There are vaccinations available. You can go to the health department or you can go to your primary care provider for this. But then the easiest thing that we should all be doing this anyway is washing our hands. All it takes is 30 seconds with warm water and soap. And, we got to make sure we get between our fingers, underneath the fingernails, even up onto the wrist a little bit. Again, we'd like to think that everybody does this, but obviously that's not the case, or we wouldn't be having these issues.
Okay. Now, I think I heard something about people who are in confined areas. Sometimes it's easier for them to come down with Hep A.
Yes, and that's the people that we've had in our district that have had Hep A. Again, they've been from Jefferson County, but they've been in our jails and in our drug rehabilitation facilities. So again, they are coming in contact with lots of people in both of those settings. So we have to monitor those places and reach out to contacts, and just to make sure that it's contained, I guess, would be the way to term it.
Okay. Now, can you give us? Now, you've given us in close quarters, and what happens in close quarters? They don't wash their hands. Is that correct?
Yes. Close quarters. Again, poor hygiene practices. Again, a little bit of hand washing goes a long way. Not just with Hep A, but with cold, the flu. Any kind of illness you can think of. Hand washing prevents a lot of that. So yeah, you have a group of people living together. One of them has hepatitis A. It's a very strong virus. It can live outside the body for months sometimes. So somebody else would come in contact with something that the infected person has touched, and then they touch it, and you might rub your eye, put your finger in your mouth, something like that.
So it doesn't have to be direct contact. I don't have to touch you to get it.
No.
And I don't have to breathe to get it.
Yeah, it's not airborne.
It's not airborne. So
Thank goodness.
But it does stick around for a while.
Yes, it's a very strong virus. And again, that's what makes it so contagious. If you heat your food properly, it should kill it. Chlorine in the water protects our water system. Where, some other underdeveloped countries don't have the benefit of that. So hepatitis A is rampant in a lot of countries. But we typically have pretty low rates. We just happen to be having an outbreak right now.
Okay. And what do you think causes this outbreak right now?
Well, a lot of it's being associated with the opiate problem. You have people that are injecting drugs, and you don't even have to inject drugs to be susceptible to this, but you're under the influence of something, and then you just don't take proper precautions. You're not as concerned about washing your hands or whatever the case would be. And so again, it's another side effect of this opiate epidemic.
Okay, and then you might go to work and make some sandwiches for people,
Correct.
for the public or whatever. Or you might be a person who works in the food supply, fresh fruits or whatever.
Yes.
And touch those fruits, and like you said, it's a strong virus, so it could hang around for months.
Yeah, and it'll just hang on the outside of that fruit. It can happen anywhere in the food process, whether it's growing the food, the packaging, or the serving part of it. It can happen at any point.
Okay.
And that's what's kind of scary about it.
Okay. All right. So this is something that nobody wants to get. Nobody wants Hep A. That's not a good thing.
Definitely not a good thing, but the good news about it, most of the time your body's going to fight it off.
Okay.
I mean, you might feel not in tip-top shape for a few months, but your body, with most people, they fight it off, and then they're immune from that point forward. You can't get reinfected.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what are some of the symptoms?
Some of the symptoms can be joint pain, jaundice or yellowing of the skin, or the eyes will kind of turn yellow. Maybe your urine will, would really freak you out when you see it, but it will turn like the color of a Pepsi. So a
Okay.
real dark urine.
Yeah, that'd be a big hint, wouldn't it?
Yes, because that's not normal.
No.
Your stool will be the color of like a gray clay. So those are some of the big indicators right off the bat.
Okay. Now, instead of trying to determine yourself which one you have, if you had some of these symptoms, obviously it would be better to go to the doctor.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If you're showing any of these symptoms, go see your care provider, or go to the ER, or like an acute healthcare type center, and then they should be able to provide you with medicines and information and get you taken care of.
Okay. Now, if you're one of those people out there who is involved with risky behaviors, what would you like to tell them?
Well, we always try to encourage people to reduce their risky behaviors or reduce the harm involved. So, if you're engaged in, injecting drugs or using drugs, again, try to take those steps to make that safer, to make sure you're taking care of yourself, wash your hands, practice proper hygiene, reduce your amount of sexual partners, and all this, because hepatitis A can be transmitted sexually as well.
Okay. All right. So that's another one for our list. So that's another reason why you don't want hepatitis A.
Yes.
You want to be very careful.
Yes. Because again, sometimes it can develop into more serious problems depending on a person. If they already have underlying illnesses or some kind of immune compromised illness going on, it could turn into liver cancer, and it can kill people
Okay.
if left unchecked.
Okay. Now we said right now we're looking at Louisville, Jefferson County area, but there's a possibility that it's going to spread. Is that correct?
Optimistically, I'm hoping no, but the realist in me says, yeah, we're probably going to see it spread even further.
Okay. All right. Well, and that only goes because warmer weather is coming, and we're going to be around more people.
Right, and more people go out to eat probably in the summer, and we're just busier, so we're not necessarily eating at home and preparing our own meals because we're out and about. And if somebody at a certain restaurant has hepatitis, then that kind of puts in danger anybody who would consume food from that restaurant.
Okay. Now we talk about the liver. it's going to contact your liver if you have hepatitis. What kind of damage can that do?
Well, it can lead to cirrhosis of the liver or scarring of the liver. And, one of the jobs of our liver is to cleanse our blood. So if the liver function is impaired, it's not going to be as efficient or effective in cleaning the blood. And that's what turns into the yellowing of the skin and the yellowing of the eyes, because our blood is not getting as clean as what it should. Our liver it's a large organ, and it's a very important organ. So anytime its function is impaired, that's something we want to get medical attention for, and help me with editing on this one. I just went blank. So we want to get the problem taken care of, get it addressed by your care provider, and because it's not something you want to mess around with. Again, the liver is too important to play any games with.
Okay. Now give it to us again. What are some of the symptoms?
Some of the symptoms, again, are, the yellowing of the skin, a Pepsi-colored urine or dark urine, joint pain, clay-colored stool. So, your body function, your body's going to be aware of it before you are, if that makes sense.
Okay. All right. You want to be aware of that. And how can they contact you or the health department if they have questions?
You could contact us through our Facebook page, Lincoln Trail District Health Department. We do have a pretty active social media presence. Or you can contact me at our central office at 270-769-1601, and I'd be happy to help you out with any information.
Okay, and the counties you cover?
We cover Meade, Hardin, LaRue, Nelson, Marion, and Washington counties.
Okay. All right then. Okay, now that was our bad news.
That was our bad news
for the day. And let's go on to our good news update on the flu.
All right, here's the good news for everybody.
Okay.
We have reached our peak, and we're starting to go back down, which is pretty typical for flu season. We usually see it come to an end in, mid-March, early April. Last week, we only had, I think it was just under 400 confirmed cases. Previous weeks, it was over 1,000 cases. So we're definitely on the downside of that.
Okay. And flu season, is it officially over? Do you think?
Well,
can we say it's ever over?
This cold snap, and other parts of the country are getting these cold snaps too, is actually kind of extending the flu season this year. So it's run a little bit longer, and we're still seeing some pockets of it pop up, and some people are still getting it, but it's not as widespread as what it once was.
Okay.
For example, just 2 weeks ago in 17 regions of Kentucky, it was active in all 17 regions. This last week, it was only 8 out of 17.
Wow.
So
it's cut in half.
Yeah, it's cut it in half. We had the type A flu to begin the season. Then we got the doubled up on, and type B started affecting people. So we're still seeing some of each, but again, the numbers are falling dramatically.
Okay. Now, they'll take all this information and put it all together and then decide on which vaccine they're going to use next year. Is that correct?
Well, they'll look at what goes on in the southern hemisphere.
Okay.
And they'll put together a model and try to forecast this, and hopefully they get it a little bit more accurate next year.
But it's never going to be 100%, do you think?
Well, no, nothing in life is 100%,
okay.
Unfortunately. So, but if you get the vaccine, and even if they got it wrong, it's still going to lessen your symptoms, and it's going to lessen the length of time that you are sick. So there's still benefits either way.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to argue with you about that, but I tell you what, once you get sick, I mean, it's like, people who've had the shot, they were really a little upset, that they got it so bad. It was nasty.
I've not heard one good story about it. So I've never heard anybody say, "Oh, yay, I got the flu." So
A or B, huh?
A or B,
Yeah.
option D, none of the
Yeah.
above is what I would choose, but unfortunately it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Well, Donnie, you come on every month or so, and you tell us about what's going on in our region here, and it's almost like I bring you on as the voice of doom, because you always have something bad
I
to tell.
did finish with something good there.
Yeah, but we
so.
finished with something good today
Yeah,
about
yeah.
the flu, and we look forward to that, and we look forward to having you on to give us some direction and let us know what's going on, so we know what's out there to keep us, informed, so that we can take care of ourselves, like today with the hepatitis A. Wonderful job. We really appreciate you coming out. And again, if anyone needs any information about Hep A, how can they contact you?
My phone number is 270-769-1601. Just ask for Donnie. They'll link you up with me, and I can answer any questions anybody might have.
Okay. Well, thank you, Donnie, for being with us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
This has been Yvonne McNary with Central Kentucky Television.